Right, so let me. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are joining me today for the Power Platform Today show. Welcome. I have with me Sheena McHardy, and I'm going to bring her on now. Sheena, hello. Introduce yourself,
Hello.
please, to the world.
Hi there, Reese. Hi there, everybody that's watching. My name is Sheena McHardy, and yeah, thank you very much for having me on. It's great to talk to you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. It's a mutual friend has introduced us, which is good. So, previous guest, which is excellent. But let's just go straight in there. Power Platform. How did you get involved in the community? Where did you start?
Well, I'm fairly new to the community actually, and I know that a few of the conversations you've had have been with people that have been in and around the community doing lots of things for a long time.
Yep.
So, and you've mentioned that perhaps getting some perspectives from some people that are fairly wet behind the ears with that would be good. So, yes, as you say, you have one conversation with somebody in the community, and then suddenly you're on a podcast. So here we are on a live stream. So yeah, Power Platform, I suppose community involvement. I've kind of been a periphery lurker for quite a while, and then I went to the Scottish Summit last year,
Oh,
but when it was in Aberdeen. I'm from the Aberdeen area, so it seemed very silly not to go along. And I met some people there, and it was a good opportunity for me to catch up with some people that I've worked with in a past life,
mm,
and take along some people that I'm currently working with. So I did that, and then again I sort of took another step back and lurked around a little bit, and then more recently, I've been involved in things like the Women in Power Platform mentoring group. I
okay.
went to South Coast Summit,
Nice.
and I also chapped on some doors. Before I went to South Coast Summit, I chapped on Aretti's door and said, do you need any help organising the Scottish Summit for next year? And can I help out? So yes, community involvement is fairly new. Power Platform involvement, less so. So I suppose from a historic point of view, I've been in and around the kind of Microsoft and SharePoint world for more years than I care to remember. So my SharePoint experience starts way back in the dark ages of SharePoint 2003,
Wow,
and
you are
went
going
in
back. I like it.
2003, 2007, 2010. And then I was working internally with a company as a kind of SharePoint developer, front end customizer, SharePoint admin,
Hmm.
until about 2018. And then I took a role in consultancy that threw me into the Power Platform without me even realizing what had happened. And yeah, just the usual path from there. I went, oh, well, first it started with Teams, actually. It started with, because we didn't have Teams in my previous company. So I got Teams, got SharePoint Online, and then I went, oh, this is how people actually do things. This is how people get stuff done. And then it came like, oh, can we automate this? A lot of my experience before that had been in automating sort of line of business systems. So I was using InfoPath, Nintex, SharePoint
Okay.
Designer workflows, all of those terrifying old things. And then I realized that actually, yeah, there was much better ways to do it with some of the modern tools. So, and Power Platform, I think, has grown up a lot since then.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time doing a lot of work, building apps and doing lots of Canvas apps with SharePoint backends, that's how you start. And then
Build a
things kind of move
database.
on from there. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then, yeah, and then it's just kind of grown from there. So now I'm feeling like, honestly, the tech is moving on so quickly that part
Mhm.
of the community involvement for me is really just keeping on top of it.
It
It's
is.
just trying to, it's too much to do all the reading and watch all of the kind of the Microsoft sessions. I'm still only partway through all my Ignite catch up. So yeah, I think the community is great for that. For
Yeah.
me, it was just about like, how can I quickly absorb what everybody else knows already? So yeah, that was a long answer to your question.
No, that's wonderful. I love that. I mean, that's one of the things that comes up quite a lot on this in terms of community. That there's a few different people, sort of ways of getting involved in the community. So I think a lot of people out there still think that being part of the community is standing up and talking, and it really isn't. A big part of being in the community is just being in and around. It's helping people. It's like you said, knocking on Aretti's door and saying, "How can I help?" And that is all very important as well. But I also say that community is also about consuming, because there are people out there. I mean, that's how I started. I think most people start that way in many ways. You read blogs. You got to work out how to do something. Read blog, watch a YouTube video. That's pretty much it these days. I don't think there's anyone actively doing anything on TikTok. I hope not.
I'm too old for TikTok. I wouldn't know.
I've seriously been considering, should I at least try it? Because I figure there's not that many people doing Power Platform and TikTok, so maybe it's a little area that I can carve out a thing and say, look, here's some quick tips. But then I have to come up with the quick tips, so a bit tricky.
Well, funny you say that actually, because your point about people thinking that being involved in community means you have to go and do all the public speaking. I think actually a lot of it is there's people potentially that would want to do some speaking, but they don't feel that they've got something valuable to say. So
Yeah.
identifying those quick tips or identifying what am I going to tell the community that nobody knows already. And I think you've had a previous conversation with one of your guests about it all being about perspective and how you can put your own slant on it.
Yes.
And equally, it's just about experience. People like to learn from other people's stories, and it doesn't have to be a you have to come away from it having learned this amazing thing that's going to launch your career. It can just be, oh, I heard, there was a really good insight into how they worked with this customer or how they went from building SharePoint Designer workflows to building stuff in Power Platform, whatever it is. It's just nice to get a bit of slice of life, I think, as well as the techie stuff.
That's Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It's one of the reasons I like to do this. I mean, for me, I'm not just about the tech. I like the tech. The tech is very interesting to me, but I'm also not someone that's spending my evenings just constantly going through the latest features to try and work out what it is. Most of my learning tends to be driven by whatever project I'm on and trying to work out what are the requirements and what are the tools available. So for me, my experience comes in around that because I've been working within Power Platform and previously CRM for 14 years. So I know Dataverse pretty well. So when it comes to a new feature, I can put it into the terms of what I understand the platform does. And so
Mhm.
I don't necessarily need to be on top of every single new feature as soon as it's there. I find that if I'm looking for something, then I'll go and find it. But it is useful to follow other people because they will talk about the latest things, and then you'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's really
Mhm.
useful." So that kind of stuff is definitely what I find particularly useful from other people. But again, it's exactly that. You might find that exactly the same information is said by different people, but how they say it, their background, whether you just like them or not, it changes how you take it in. So I think that's something, again, people out there need to kind of just at least consider that. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're saying the same thing as everyone else. It really does come down to your experience and how you are doing it. It might be that you're doing it in a different way. It might be you're using newer tools or newer tech or newer videos, just style that is
Yeah.
different to others that is getting across it a different way. It might just be that it's your experience. So, like I said, for me, it's not just tech. I like people. So I actually like to talk about the tech in terms of a business context or working with people, because
Yeah.
for me that's the Power Platform. The only reason I'm working, well, it's not the only reason. The reason I'm working in the Power Platform is because it solves problems.
Yeah.
And I like that part of it. It's a fantastic
Same.
toolbox to allow me to solve problems. And those problems are what business users have. So that's the thing that I find the most interesting. I think there's a
Yeah.
bit of a commonality between us on that because I think I did a
Yeah.
little bit of background on yourself. But so you do change management, is that right? You've.
Yeah, change management's a big part of my role. So although I have
Mm,
been working in Power Platform for a lot of years, more recently I've been more in the kind of M365 productivity,
yeah.
which I think is very much leading into the Copilot space. But I
Yeah.
see there being a lot of synergy between, so particularly for some of my customers, I see them often. I'm starting with people that really don't have any idea about some of the Microsoft tools. And we're talking really basic things. They don't use Teams very well. They only put their folder, their files in a folder structure in SharePoint, they're really kind of basic stuff.
Yeah.
So when they start to learn what some of even the most basic tools do, like you're solving initial problems, which is about how can they work smarter, how can they do things more efficiently, and then they get that light bulb moment that goes, oh, that's how this works. And then you can lead them into, okay, let's talk about what you do every day. What can we automate? What can we put into some kind of system? And it's really about, I've moved much more into the whole, I suppose my background actually, a lot of it comes from business analysis. So I do work on that people side. I
Mm.
work with the business problem and then try and translate that into a solution. And a huge part of that is around change management,
Yeah.
because especially in those cases where you have some people that have been working with older tech for a long time, or legacy systems, if they've been doing it for a long time or they're very busy in their jobs, it's a real challenge to do the onboarding and ongoing success of some kind of technology implementation. They want it, and they want to be able to press a big button that does all of the things that it takes them 3 hours to do, but they don't have time to learn. They are a little bit resistant because they're maybe a little bit nervous of
Yeah.
it. They're nervous about how much it's the co-pilot argument, isn't it? It's going to take our jobs. So they have that sort of fear as well. So a huge part of what I do is around comms as well. I love talking to people and understanding. The more you talk to them, the more you find out that the thing they've come to you with to say, this is what my boss has told me that we have to get an automated process for. That's not the problem that they actually want to solve.
Yes.
Usually it's something underlying
Yeah.
that you have to then build into your I guess this whatever the solution design is that you're putting in.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to sneak that in so that it's not massively changing their kind of timescale or budget, but that that's the thing that's going to make the difference
Yeah.
to the people on the coalface. And that's a bit exciting to me. I mean, tech is, somebody said to me once, there's no such thing as a technology project and there's no such thing as a data project. There's only people projects.
Hmm.
And I think that's true. Solutions in tech are brilliant, but if people don't use them, they're useless. So
That's exactly. Yeah, that is very right. I mean, that's because that's the thing. We're in the Microsoft camp. We work with the Microsoft tools, but there are other vendors out there that do similar things. I mean, the Power Platform is not entirely unique. It is an interesting take on things, and I like the fact it's all interconnected to the rest of Microsoft services. But it's definitely not the only low code kind of platform out there. There's definitely others out there. So
yeah,
ultimately, it does come down to what is it, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, that you actually want to solve? What is your pain point? What do you want to do with this? And that's one of the reasons I do like Agile when Agile's done well. When Agile's done well, that's what you're doing. You are literally regularly, you're touching base with an actual person that uses the stuff and saying,
mhm,
here's the latest things that we've built based on what you said. What do you think? And then they tell you what they think. And then the
yeah.
next time you do it differently.
Yeah, and usually they're quite honest about what they think after the fact. Less honest before you start to build it.
But this is why when I say, so when Agile's done well, that's what you're doing. That's the whole point. It's about getting that feedback, and it's about getting it regularly, because you need people to actually be using it to be able to say, well, that's not what I expected, or no,
Yeah,
that's not what I needed. Whereas quite often we still, even to this day with partners, you still end up in a position where you're delivering on something that was requirements were gathered 3 months ago from people that aren't actually doing the work. It's
yeah,
almost always someone totally separate to the actual coalface, like you say.
yeah,
And so they don't know what they're actually saying. They just know what they think they're saying. And then when you
yeah,
actually put it in front of a person, they go, I'm missing this column. It's like,
yeah.
all right, okay. And
This is no use to me.
it's almost always as simple as that. It's
It
just,
is.
this is useless. I don't have the column I need. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, right, okay. Well, I mean, we can put that in there now. That's fine. But if you're doing that at the end of the project, because I've delivered it now, I'm now into hypercare because that's the way we do things. It's too late.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're
But
actually doing
also
it,
the minute they say, well, I can't do my job because that column's in there, you've lost them. You've
yeah,
lost their buy-in.
yeah,
You've lost their willingness to go forth and tell everybody else about this amazing thing that you've built because they see the one flaw in it because they
yeah,
didn't get a chance to say, that's not going to work for me.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, but getting people to actually, even then, I think so. I suppose I've done a little bit of I've probably worked for some organizations that do agile, but they don't really do agile.
Yeah,
They don't think they do things in an agile way. But even then, I think it's a real challenge to get some of the people at the very early stages to really be honest about what they want.
yeah,
And that's the bit that I find the most interesting because you can tell when someone's sitting there going, yeah, we need this and we need this. And you say, okay, so we'll do it in purple and it'll have this square over here and whatever it is. And they go, mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm. And you know, like, I know that's wrong, but you're gonna have to tell me why. So
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot more time. I think, yeah, people misunderstand the relationship building skills that I think are needed to really get I guess that get that buy-in from people. And that's the
Yeah.
bit I like. I love finding the resistant people at the beginning and at the end being like, see, I told you we could work together and find something that works for you because they start off from a point of this will never work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Uh,
that's important.
we
So
definitely share that in common. That's one of the things I really love to do. I really like to go into a project where the customer's starting to turn, they're starting to get angry or not happy, whether it's from a previous partner or whether it's even in the same partner and just the project's not been going well. I love coming in and understanding what went wrong, but giving them the time. Because that's the thing. Most customers, I find anyway, the reason they've turned, the reason they've got upset, and the reason they've changed is they're not having their concerns voiced.
yeah,
And that's it. It's literally, I just sit down and I just say, all right, what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. What is it? What are you hating? What's not going well? What's going well? What is going well? What's just talk to me. And then at the end of it, it's about saying, right, well, I've heard that, that, and that. I understand that. I'm sorry that we've been there. Going forward, this is what we're going to do. And then giving them
yeah.
a proper plan and just involving them. Um,
This is why you're good at a chat show because you just ask one question and you get half an hour's worth of an answer.
well, it's funny actually. I've been thinking recently so much about what is my value? What do I do? What do I bring to anything? What are my values? It's really hard actually to try and distill it down, but I keep coming back to the fact that I'm very curious. I've always been a
Mhm.
curious person, and that's why I love doing this because I'm very interested in what other people think, who they are, where they've come from, and so curiosity is very much a core part of what I do. And I
Mhm.
think that's one of the reasons I tend to be. I'm I consider myself quite a good architect because I'm curious.
Yes.
Actually, I do consider myself not the best architect simply because I'm too curious sometimes.
Well, I was going to say that's a double-edged sword because if you're too curious about the tech, you go down a rabbit hole like all techie people do because they
Yeah,
like to know all the nuts and bolts of how it all
yeah,
works. So you need to be kind of curious enough about the problem that you're trying to solve without saying, "Oh, but we could solve it using the all of these bells and whistles,"
yeah.
when actually we could just put in this one column and that fixes it. So,
So that's one
um,
thing I think I've definitely learned over the years that, and this is something I always try to get junior developers or anyone I'm working with that is a pure developer to try and build their skill set in, is understanding that you are solving a business problem. There is nothing that we are building in the Power Platform that is the next amazing tech website, or we're not building Facebook. We're not building these crazy, like massive scale technology tools. What we're building is business application software. And
yeah,
that software is about solving business problems. It doesn't have to be the most performant. It doesn't have to be the nicest looking. It has to solve the user problems and it has to make them happy. That's it.
yeah,
That's really
they
it.
have to want to use it. That's all,
That's exactly
and it
right.
has to be better than what they had before.
Yes, and
So,
that is critical because I think that's something that often gets missed is people. Because the thing is, if we think about Power Platform, right? Uh, a lot of people that we're working with have probably been using Excel for years to do the same thing they're about to do on Power Platform.
yeah,
You cannot replace Excel, as in the way Excel works, you cannot replace that flexibility. Nothing beats Excel for the flexibility it gives you. It's insanely powerful. It's been around for a long time and it's very good at what it does and it's very well abused.
yes, it is.
uh, and then you bring in Power Platform and everyone's like, this is too rigid, it's too slow. I can't do
Yeah.
all the I can't capture everything I need.
It
Uh,
takes me 20 minutes to fill in 4 fields on one column that I can do in 3.5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's when the selling part almost comes in. You have to onboard people. You have to get them bought into the idea that this is a platform. The things that you are not getting in the world of Excel are made up for in many other places. Security is a big one that most users don't notice, but is important. But just collaboration, just the ability to be able to modify one set of records that everyone can see very straightforwardly without having to email version _1 of whatever the next spreadsheet is.
Final, 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 final.
Copy of copy.
Yep. Yeah. That is a huge problem. And I think, yeah, but that's all mindsets, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
all taking people on a journey. It's all making them, and it's understanding not just the problem that they have, which might be that they can't maybe collaborate together effectively on a big spreadsheet. It's also understanding that if they have that information somewhere else, they can do other cool stuff with it. They don't have to only think about
Yeah.
the little box that they live in.
Mm-hmm.
They might have a colleague that sits across the desk that needs that information, can't get to it. And it would be, so I think it's about building the bigger picture. I
Yeah.
think years ago, I did Microsoft Catalyst training. Do
Oh
they still
yeah.
do Microsoft Catalyst? Yeah, I think they probably
I
call it
think
something
I
else
think
now, but
they've almost certainly rebranded, but it's a
they'll,
similar
yeah,
thing.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, that was, we're talking at least 5 years, so it can't have had the same name for that length of time.
Probably had
But
five
when we
names in
did
that
that, it
time.
was all about, yeah, it was all about, take one idea or take a set of ideas and just completely blow them apart, like completely obliterate the whole thing and build it up so that it's like 20 times larger than it was when you started. And then start to kind of pull at the threads to pull it all back in again. And I love that
Okay.
kind of, I love doing workshops like that again, because everybody starts off going, oh, what's the point? What we're doing? Why are we doing this? But then you see little ideas start to go,
Yeah.
oh, but wait a minute, we've got that other thing that we only have to do once every 6 months, and it's a nightmare. And we've got a monster spreadsheet for it. So I suppose that kind of thing. But to get to that point, you have to understand their business quite a lot. And
Yes.
that's the difficult bit. So you've got to really be prepared to do the legwork to get in about, understand the business, and getting the time to do that and getting the resource time from those people is hard as well. But that's why I like working with people and just kind of being like you. It's like you were saying, like give them the time to talk, but also just be around a lot, on
Yeah.
the periphery a lot, be available a lot, ask questions a lot, even if they don't seem relevant at the time. And then you're just like, you become like this person that they're like, oh, maybe they can help us do this thing. So yeah, that's interesting. And then again, back to community, like you might have something like that you've got very strict at the beginning of the project. You've got quite a strict idea about what you're doing, and especially if you're doing something like an F&O project or something that's really long term, you start with a plan and you get very into, okay, this is how we're going to solve this, and you're still working on it 18 months later, by which time new stuff has moved on. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not involved in something like the community, by the time that project's finished, you go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm 2 years out of date. I don't know how to do all of this stuff anymore. And I can't then impart that to any other customers that I'm working on.
Yeah.
So I find it quite good from that point of view, like just to kind of keep things, you don't have to understand it all, but just be aware of what's going on, even if you can't use it in your day to day. I
Yeah.
think having that so that when someone asks you a question at the end of the project and they say, is it possible at some point for us to do X, Y, Z? You say, well, not with the way we've got things set up at the moment, but absolutely that's something we can look at, down the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's again the benefit of community. You can just pick everyone's brains. There's so many people in the community that you can just ask them lots of hard questions when you get
That's
them
true.
from customers.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true, and I do find a lot of them are friendly and willing for those things, especially at conferences. It's always good to do that, to get to know different people, and then at the nights out in the evening, that's when you can really pick people's brains, and they love it. I swear they do. At
As
least
long as you can
that's what
remember
they're
what they
saying.
said in the morning, that's the challenge.
Well, yes, that is true. That's very true. But then that's what the breakfast is for.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So
So,
yes, we'll have to make the most of upcoming conferences then, I guess.
well, yeah. So saying that, so South Coast next, not South Coast, Scottish Summit next year
Yeah.
in Edinburgh, my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, indeed.
I will definitely
Just
be
down the
there.
road from me.
Oh, it's a long way down the road for you.
It's closer than Farnborough, so
Well, that is true. That's true.
and I made it there. So,
Yeah.
and then there's the East of England Summit as well. And I think that's kicking off
Yeah.
May.
Hmm.
So lots of opportunities for conferencey things.
It's funny actually. That one, I really want to go. The difficulty with that is going to be transport. Just getting there, I think, is going to be a little bit more tricky because it's not as straightforward. Like Farnborough, right next to an airport, pretty much. I mean, as in, well, it's on an airport, but an airport you can get to. So you can get
Oh,
to Heathrow
yeah.
and then you come across nice and easy. Getting to the East Coast one, that's gonna be a bit tricky, I think.
I don't know. Have they announced, I'm not sure if they've announced the venue yet. I'll have to
I don't think they
have they
have.
that. I'll need to check it out. Yeah.
There's been some murmurs. I know that Duncan's been on stage at a venue, so I
Yes.
believe they've
Yes,
got
I saw
something.
that post. So,
Yes.
oh, well, maybe we'll have to arrange a minibus down from the frozen north down to the east coast
Ooh,
of wherever it is.
party bus. I love it.
Then no one's remembering any of the answers to the questions on the party bus. You're
But it
only
just
allowed to ask the hard questions when you're not on the bus.
that's really funny. That just reminds me of being in school. I don't know if you guys did that. Did you? So you're from up north, from
Yeah,
Aberdeen area. Did
yeah,
you go to school in Aberdeen area?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
in the Shire, yeah.
All right. So I went to school in Abfeldy, so further up north than where I am certainly now. Uh, but one of the things we did every year, there was a school trip to Alton Towers. And so,
Really?
yeah. So they had a bus. The bus was there, and we all got on this bus as a school, as a class, to go down to Alton Towers. Uh,
Quite a long way
it's a
on a
very
school
long
bus.
way. So that just connected the dots with me. I was like, taking a bus. Yeah, I remember doing that when I was younger. That was good fun.
No, I got to go to York, I think. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Jorvik Viking Centre, but I've been
It is
many
good.
times, so I think that was as far as I went on a school trip.
I went there.
So,
I think it was last year with my son, and that was the first time we'd properly been. We'd been on little holidays here and there, but that was the first one where we went to a city sort of break with him. Like a lot of the things before was kind of we'll just go to a cottage in the
yeah.
Highlands or just something a little bit more contained. So this was the first time we actually went to a city to risk that, and he was young. I mean, he would have been 5, maybe even 4. So there was touch and go as to whether he'd want to walk enough to go around a city.
Well,
Uh,
York's a perfect size for that, though.
it was
That's a great
wonderful. It
choice.
was really, really good. We had such a good time. The Viking Center was great and got a couple of coins out of that. He loves his coin. I have
Do
my
you still go
coin.
through on a roller coaster? Do you think it's not
It
a
was
roller coaster, like a
closed.
track?
When we got there, it was
Oh,
closed. So that part was broken. So we couldn't do that. So we have to go back. But
you do have to go back if that still runs. I mean, that's the best bit. It's so many noises and smells and
I
things
think
being thrown
actually
at you.
that's a blessing in some ways for us because I don't think he would have enjoyed it at the time. He probably
Ah,
would have been
okay.
properly freaked out. Whereas now, I think he'd probably be better with it. He will still be freaked out, but he'll understand it more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, actually, as a 4-year-old, I think the things that they have in there are probably mildly terrifying, I would say.
It's actually it is an interesting one because I think in some ways he was he braver or was he just more ignorant in a good way? Because at the age of 4, he just didn't really know anything about stuff. So everything was just ooh lights and exciting stuff. Whereas now, in more recent months, he came up with like he learned the concept of death, and now he
Oh,
just hates the word dead. We can't say it. In fact, I was reading him a story tonight, so I read him a story every night. And in the story, he said, "Daddy, please don't say the word. You need to say destroyed." I was like, I'm not going to do that because you need to understand the concept. You need to go through it, and it's just a word. It's something that we all go through. But it was quite an interesting thing to see him wrestle with this idea that people will die. You
yeah.
will die. My dad will die. This is terrifying. So now he understands that. I actually think it probably would be more scary now for him than it would have been back then. um,
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, death is one thing, but people actively trying to kill you is different. So
that's true.
that's it's death, murder, different things. So,
I'll ask
but
him
yeah.
next time.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that's okay. Maybe not there for holiday next time. You'll have to go someone else on holiday.
Well, so we for that holiday we went to York, but we also went to Flamingo Land because it's just outside. Um, and he loved it. Like that was the first time we got him on a roller coaster, and he was really, really enjoying it. I escalated, so we went on sort of basics of choo-choo train type ones, which were very much fine for him. And then I was like, he's really enjoying this. Let's go on something a little bit more adventurous. And so I went on to a roller coaster with him because my wife doesn't do roller coasters. She doesn't really enjoy them, but she likes us to do them. So we went on this one, which was it looked like a teacup ride, but it wasn't fully spinning. And so I thought that might be okay because it's still a kid's ride. So it's a roller coaster, but it spins around. And so when we're sitting on there, so it was just him and I facing each other in the sort of teacup thing. And we're going around and he's like, he's having a great time. And then it starts spinning a bit. And he's like, and I could see it in his face almost instantly. It was just like, Daddy, no, no,
I
no.
want to be off.
Yeah, need to get off, need to get off. So,
Oh
yes.
dear. Did he make it? Did he make it
He
through
did.
okay?
He did. And to be honest, it was funny because he says one thing, but like his actions say another thing. So I think that I do believe he enjoyed it. But at the same time, I also think that there's an element of him that's just like, I don't want to ever do that again.
Until the next time he goes, you're just prepping him for Alton Towers one day.
I absolutely am. I want to
Then
take him
he'll
to
want to go
every
on
single.
everything. I've never been to Alton Towers.
You've never
So
been.
I don't know how I've managed to, and it's not been intentional. Like if somebody said, let's go to Alton Towers at the weekend, I would be 100% up for it. But it's just never happened. I've never made it through the
All right,
Alton
so
Towers
I'm now
gates.
thinking. So the East Coast Summit, we're gonna do that, but we're gonna do Alton
Oh,
Towers on the way.
right. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing where you're going with that. I'm sure there's some people that we could pick up on the way as well. We
I'm
could do
sure
like
we
a
absolutely can. That's it.
I'm okay for
Plans are
this.
formed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm happy to do some driving. I don't mind driving a big minibus. So
Mhm.
I
I will follow up on this. I really like that idea.
feel like I've probably made a rod for my own back here.
Yes, you have. Oh, right. Well, bringing it back to Scottish Summit next year.
Yes.
So, did you say that you're going to be helping out with that?
Hopefully, so yeah, so I chapped on Aretti's door because I used to work with Aretti, and
Cool.
she's always very open door policy. And I said she'd said at the time, they have now obviously, but I said that I would quite like to get involved with helping
Hmm.
them at some point to say, have you booked your travel? Have you booked your hotel? Do you know what time you're supposed to be here? So yeah, so hoping to help out with a bit of that. But again, it's like you say, it's just because I don't mind doing a little bit of speaking. I may submit a session for me to speak, but actually I just like being part of the
Yeah.
admin, the organization, that kind of thing. Like I'm one of these people that um I'm either all the way in or all the way out. So I'm sort of like if there's something I can do to help out, and I I think I saw in the background when we were at Scottish Summit last year, it was just seeing the amount of work that goes into putting something like
Hmm.
that on. That is not something that is thrown together. It takes months of prep and so many people to give up their time and their effort. So I thought, well, I get a lot out of these things, so the least I can do is give a little bit back and help out. So yes, I don't
Excellent.
know. That's all I know about it so far because, as I say, I only met Sarah at the South Coast Summit, so we haven't really kicked things off for that yet. But I imagine that will be kicking off in the early part of next year.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody that's
Excellent.
watching, keep an eye out for session submissions.
Good, 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 good.
Yeah.
So that's when it comes to conferences. How are you at a conference? Are you comfortable just walking in, not knowing anyone? Do you need to know someone beforehand? How do
No,
you approach conferences?
I would say, like I think a lot of people, I am one of those outwardly extroverted introverts. So I don't choose to go into a room full of people if I can avoid it. But once I'm in a
Yeah.
room full of people, I like to talk to everybody in the room because it's the only way I can get through it.
Ah,
I have to just think, what is the
right.
point in me being here if I don't put myself out there? But I do find it quite terrifying at the time. I actually find it easier. I find it much harder in like the vendor hall when you're trying to just kind of talk randomly
Mm,
to people. I find it much easier if I'm in a session and I have a specific question or something that I want to raise with the speaker after the session. That's a much
yeah.
easier route to kind of make some of those connections rather than I'm not really the sort of person that will just say, I don't know anybody here. Can I talk to you? Actually, at South Coast
Yeah.
Summit, it was brilliant. So I had stayed in the city centre in Farnborough and I walked down to the conference hall, which was about a half-hour walk. And I arrived and I was
Mm,
sweating and, like I was just like all out of puff. And I thought, I'm just going to stand outside the hotel because I was actually there on the Friday for one of the workshops. So I thought, I'm going to stand outside the hotel and gather myself just to get myself back on track before I go in and register. And somebody came out of the hotel. I had no idea if I was there for the conference or not. I don't think I was wearing anything that gave away my Microsoft or Copilot. I don't have a badge on or anything, but just came straight up to me and said, "Oh, are you okay? How's your morning going so far? Which workshop are you here to go and attend?" And we just talked and talked and talked. And then I met her again in the cabaret in the evening and saw her throughout the
Hmm.
weekend. So there are people that I think can
Nice.
do that. And if you are the sort of person that's not so keen doing that, make yourself available to those people that are good at doing that. So I think is the
Yeah.
way to do it, because it's hard. It's a lot of people and it's quite overwhelming.
Hmm.
But the other thing, I think the other thing to do is talk to the vendors. That's an easy way in to kind of try and kind of make some connections. There's always some really good vendors that are willing to talk and willing to,
Yeah.
give some advice about what they do or what kind of projects they've worked on. It very much depends on your focus. If you're just there to meet people, then there's lots and lots of different ways that you can do it. But yeah, conferences are, every time I do them, I think, why am I putting myself out here? Why am I doing this? Why am I not just at home in my garden or doing something? I could quite happily spend a weekend, talking to nobody. My
Yeah.
batteries get full by being by myself, but I go and I enjoy it when I'm there. So, and the benefits
It's really
outweigh the,
interesting that you, yeah, talking of the battery. So my wife is very much like that in that she says at the beginning of the day her battery is full. So when she wakes up, she's energized, she's ready to go. And with people, it
yeah,
drains. So she's definitely an introvert from that perspective. In fact, I think she'd probably describe herself a bit like you are, an extroverted introvert, in that in a scenario, she can absolutely look like she's the life of the party. But actually, that is entirely just her
yeah,
surviving,
it's a
basically.
facade.
Uh, yeah, it absolutely is. And so by the end of that sort of moment, at the end of that day, she'll be drained. She'll just want to go into a darkened room and just go away everyone else and just sit down and enjoy peace and
Yeah,
quiet. I'm the opposite. So the morning when I wake up, I am drained. I just like I hate mornings. I'm terrible in the morning. Um, and for me, I get so energized talking to
yeah,
people. I love talking to people. Uh, one of the problems that I've got is that thing that you just described, in that I have a lot of anxiety around crowds.
yeah.
Like it's a big problem that I have, that I just think everyone's staring at me constantly. So at South Coast, for instance, when I was there, went into the canteen area, and I was looking for specific people or people that I
Hmm.
knew, and I know lots of people at the conference. And I was just standing there looking at lots of people, and I just freaked out. I was just looking, scanning the crowd, but all I could think was, I look like an absolute idiot. Everyone's staring at me. What the hell's happening? I can't see anyone. I'm just going to run away. And I just disappeared off into a
Just
corner.
overwhelmed.
And so, yeah, and I still have that problem at a conference, even though if you meet me at a conference, I might come across like I'm perfectly happy and in the scenario, everything's
Yeah,
going well. But I'm constantly freaking
yeah.
out.
So
But at the same time, I still love it. It's a weird one.
what would then make that easier for you if you went to a conference as somebody that feel
Purpose.
okay,
For me, it's
okay,
purpose. So I've mentioned it here before. Like I, as a speaker, I love going to a conference because I'm a speaker. So there's an element of almost status that you've got there, but a purpose for being
yes,
there. So there is an element of that. At South Coast, I was assisting, so I was helping out at the conference. So I was one of the volunteers there. So there was an element of purpose that I had there. So I was walking around like a little bit like I owned the place, but it's that's only one part of it. So that helps for walking around the conference and doing things, but it still doesn't help me meeting
mm.
someone. Like just walking up to any old person and just going hi is just
Yeah, I
weird.
agree.
I can't. I really struggle with that. So my technique tends to be, I'll latch onto someone that I
Yeah,
know, uh, and then I'll follow them around for a bit, and then I'll go off and do something else, and I'll probably find them again
yeah,
later on. But I've over the years I've built that up because I know a few more
yeah,
people. So now it's a little bit easier to at least move on to someone
yes.
else. So I'm not always following the same one person. Um, Although admittedly at South Coast they ended up doing that a bit. Matt Snecker is an awesome guy, really nice guy. and he's so
Yeah.
friendly. So I think I
Oh,
I
have
oversubscribed
you
to that
used all your Matt's
friendliness.
Necker cards, have you?
Yes,
Mm-mm.
absolutely have.
It's interesting what you
Um,
say about volunteering, though. Volunteering is a good way to do it because if you have the volunteer t-shirt,
yeah,
and you do walk around like you own the place a bit because you have a purpose, you're like, okay, I've got to do
yeah,
whatever my job is right now. But if you then have some downtime or you're in the vendor hall or you're in the canteen, it's almost a good segue to be because you're wearing the volunteer t-shirt. If you see someone else or a group of people, the easiest thing to do would be, is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything you haven't been able to find? You could, that's a good
yeah,
opener because you have a reason to be asking them a question. And then 9 times out of 10, you'll find they'll just say like, oh no, but what have you been doing? And there'll be a conversation started. And it's quite easy to do
yeah.
it that way. So yeah, having something emblazoned on your t-shirt that says come and talk to me is, is quite a good way to do it, I think.
There is, yeah, no, absolutely. It is a purpose and it's a reason for being there that kind of overcomes a little bit of that part of my brain that says, why am I here? Who wants to talk to me? I'm nothing. So having that T-shirt, having someone coming up to you and just being like, "Oh, can you
Yeah.
help me?" Is really
I'm
useful
quite sure if you
because then I can be
said,
like, "Yes,
can you just talk to me for a minute? That would be also quite fine. Most volunteers at these things would be quite happy to do that.
yeah,
So,
yeah."
so it
But
all comes back
it's
to people. People just want to know people and hear other people's stories. I think you and I are obviously on that same plane with knowing that underlying everything is really just people's experience. And everyone's got a story to tell. Some are funnier than others, some are more interesting than others, but we all have them. So yeah, that's good.
yeah, and that's I do love to just talk to people about stuff they're passionate about or interested in. That's I mean, one of my favorite questions generally is, "What are you passionate about?" When I meet someone, because I find it's one of those things that people are used to getting asked, "What do you do?"
Yes.
People are used to being asked like, "What have you seen last?" But when you ask someone, "What are you passionate about?" They're like, "Whoa, wait,
Yeah.
what? What do you mean
Oh, I'm supposed to
passionate?"
like what I'm doing? Really?
It's just interesting. It always brings up different conversations because it's then they really think about it. It's like, what do you mean passion? Am I passionate about Power Platform?
Some people are. Some people are
Um,
extremely passionate about Power Platform.
yeah, there are definitely. I can name a few.
I suspect we probably know a few of the same.
Oh yes, yes, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then equally, it's that
cool,
customer
right?
and people thing, and you go, what am I passionate about? Fixing people's problems. It's what we all do at the end of the day.
Well, I don't know if people do. I think that we try, but I think that there's a difference between implementing stuff and fixing a problem.
That's true.
I think anyway. Yeah, and I think that the people that are there to fix a problem, well, it depends on how you look at it, I suppose. I like to think of it, and this is where the curiosity, going back to what we were saying before, the curiosity can cause me a bit of trouble because I do like to understand the business. I like to understand what they're doing to the point that I'll ask them a lot more questions than they are. Like the person I'm talking to, I'll be asking, let's say that they're doing procurement in a big project, and I'll be asking them about everything to do with the business. And they're like, well, I don't do that. It's like, all right, well, who does? I'll go speak to them because I like to understand the whole context. I like to understand where does this thing sit within everything else. And part of that is that I can then help them to understand, like you were saying, where else could you use the Power Platform? What other parts of your business might make more sense to use the Power Platform? And we can talk about that separately. But also, it helps me to put them as a proper little piece of the puzzle in the wider
Yeah,
picture. And so that I tend to spend probably more time doing than I
good.
probably should. But yeah, but it's useful. I find it useful. I can't do anything unless I can understand it. I really struggle with that. I mean, that's going back years. I can remember in maths when I was in secondary school, and we were doing. I loved maths. I really enjoyed it, but I hated it when they said, "This is the thing." Like imaginary numbers would be an example. Like here's an imaginary number. It's a thing. Just this is how you use it. Like, yeah, but why is it there? What is it? Like where did it
What
come
does it
from? What the hell
do?
is it?
I don't
Yeah.
understand.
It's like, why is there this thing?
Yeah.
Tell me this thing.
And if you can tell me why
It's
it's
like,
there, get rid of it. But can't do that with maths, unfortunately. You can do it with customers to a certain extent. If you ask why enough times and they say, I don't know, why do we do that? Or why do we have that? Do you actually need it? Do you use it? Let's get rid of it.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a trick. I mean, properly trying to simplify processes when you're talking to people is, yeah,
Hard. You need a lot of trust for that, I think.
yes, yeah. You need to build up to
Yeah.
that. I I realize I've been talking a lot more in this than I would normally do. So,
Is that because I'm not giving you full enough answers to my Power Platform
oh
journey?
God, no, no. It's been this has been fascinating and really really interesting, and you're really easy to talk to. So I think that's probably an element of it.
Shall I interview you for a
So it's
while? Is
really
that what we'll do now?
that'd be a bit. Well, to be fair, we're coming up to finishing anyway, so maybe next
All
time.
right. I could be a chat show host, interviewer.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, no. So I was going to go into a whole spiel of other stuff, but to be honest, we've hit
Okay.
time, which is great. Stops me gibbering on some more, but I do like to finish on some rapid fire
Right.
questions, so I will go through
Okay.
those. One of the things I really love about the rapid fire questions is it always brings up more questions, but I can't cover them.
Yep.
So there's an element of now I have to ask you the next time I see
Next
you.
time on.
Yes.
Okay,
All
go
right,
for it.
let's go in. So, favorite Power Platform service?
Can I say anything except Power Automate?
You can say
That's what I'm
that.
saying.
Yes.
There's a backstory to that, and you can ask me about it next time.
Oh, there's some pain there, definitely.
Remembering where in the world I
I,
came from when I moved from Nintex to Power Automate was not a fun journey.
I yep. No, I can see that. Favorite conference?
Ooh. I haven't been to that many yet, so I'm going to say Scottish Summit because it was the start of my journey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same with me. Scottish Summit's where I started, and so that's always going to have a little part of
And it's on the
little
doorstep,
part of
which
my
is
heart.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. That was back when they were still in Glasgow regularly.
Although we don't need a party bus for that, so maybe we need to change our favorite conference to somewhere further away.
This is true. Everyone keeps saying Dynamics Minds. I mean,
Yes.
that's quite far for a party
And
bus,
well, it's a
but
long drive.
that would be a
Party
party
plane?
bus. Party
I know. I
train.
would love to go to one of like Dynamics Minds or Color Cloud or even the Baltic Summit looked really
Yeah,
good this year. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's just time and finances don't allow it for it all the time.
That's exactly it. Yes. All right. Last music you can remember listening to.
Ooh, what was I listening to this afternoon? I think I was listening to a bit of Gomez this afternoon.
Nice. Very
Quite old
good.
school
Podcasts or TV?
podcasts, definitely.
Cool. If you had 2 hours with no other responsibility, what would you do?
I would be pottering around in my garden.
You mentioned your garden
Yes.
before. I take it you like to, is it growing vegetables or is it
Bit of
flowers?
both. It was vegetables more. I'm a polytunnel. I have a vegetable garden. I grow some fruit, but this year I've done a bit more in the whole flower and decorative space. I am not Alan Titchmarsh, but I'm trying. So, but I do get quite obsessed with it. I get obsessed with like planning the garden. I approach it like any other project that I would approach. Like I draw a picture and I'm like, this is what we need to achieve. This is why I need to have it like this way. And then it takes me the whole summer to try and implement it. So
I mean, to be fair, for gardening, you do need an element of that because there's for the putting the seeds in the ground at the right time. You need to know when to do it. So there's a lot of planning involved in that. But then once they're even in there, you have to make sure that you're keeping track of stuff to know when you then take it
yeah,
out
I
again.
know, I know. There's a whole lot more to it than I thought. Before I started gardening, I was like, I just shove it in the ground and it'll be fine. Turns out that doesn't work most of the time.
Except for potatoes. Potatoes grow like anything. I mean, those things
And
they're
you can never
amazing.
get rid of them.
We put yeah, we put a crop in our house. I think we moved in the second year we put potatoes in, and we had some lovely potatoes out the back of it. I thought I dug them all up. The next year, suddenly we had some sprouts, and it's like, that's potatoes. Dug it up, more potatoes. They were there again the next year after
Yeah.
that. 3 years running, we had potatoes coming out of that little
Gift
patch.
that keeps on giving.
Yes. It was well worth it. But yes, maybe a bucket next time.
Yes, yeah. Actually, you've just made me think I still haven't dug up all the sweet potatoes, so they have to come out soon. So I must do that this weekend. So my 2 hours this weekend, I will be digging up my sweet potatoes.
Lovely. Oh, I do love love a sweet potato. Books or audiobooks?
Mostly audiobooks because I'm an on-the-go person. But if I actually
Mm-hmm.
am reading to read in front of the fire, it's a book. So it's a
Yeah,
bit of a combo.
cool. Yeah, I think that it is an interesting one. I think that it's not black and white. I think if you like books, you would also like audiobooks more often than not. It comes down to the context where you're going to do it. So exactly as you say. So like for me, books, I love to read books to my son. So that's when I read books. I listen to audiobooks a lot, just because I find it a little bit easier than reading. But I love reading dramatically, if that makes sense, because I'm quite a slow reader. So when I read like I speak.
Okay.
So actually, reading it out to my son makes perfect sense.
Ah,
Yeah, but reading it to myself, I'd rather just listen to someone else say it.
because they can do it in the dramatic fashion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they draw
I
me
think
in.
I'm kind of the if I'm listening to something, it's because I'm doing something else. So I'll listen to maybe non-fiction through an audiobook. But if I want to get lost in
Yeah,
a story, then I'll use a book because then I can use my own imagination and I'll just do
yeah,
fiction with a book. But it varies. I'm a bit fickle. Sometimes I'll do it one way, sometimes I'll do it the other way.
cool. Glass half full or half empty?
I want to say half full. I suspect I'm half empty more often than I care to admit, but I'm going to say half full.
Aspirationally half
Yes,
full.
absolutely. Three quarters full. Does that count?
Oh, I love it. All right, Sheena, that has been wonderful. It's been a really good chat. Thank you very much for joining me today. And for all those out there that are listening, hopefully you've enjoyed that and you took something out of it. Do get involved in the community. It's very important.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you and good night.
Bye.